Hey Ben, how are we?
Oh, doing good. How are you? What time is it for you?
It is 10 a.m.
Oh, good morning.
So we're good. Good evening, I guess, to you.
Yes, indeed.
Um, so first of all, I want to congratulate you on the film because your performance was incredible. I think I cried like three times. It was great. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, you were amazing. You did so well. You left me speechless. So all the blessings to you, sir. Thank you. Um, Okay, so my first question is: so you played Evan in the Dear Evan Hansen musical. What was it like transitioning the character from Broadway to the big screen?
Um, Definitely very rewarding. It was a scary challenge at first because obviously I'm very proud of the work we did on stage, and it became a very important performance for me and for my life, and opened up my career in a whole new way. And there was a lot of weight on that performance for me in my personal life, and I've spent the last few years, growing past that and moving on from that. And to re-enter that is very scary, especially not on stage but on film, which is not the medium that I grew up in. It's not my kind of bread and butter. It's not my most natural place, and so I was definitely afraid. But I think uh, it was the good kind of fear that felt like the right kind of challenge. And I think the fun of it for me was, relying on some of those memories and instincts and things that are still second nature to me about the character that kind of fell right back into place, but also reinventing and trying to keep it new and spontaneous and a little bit more, a little smaller, a little closer to the ground, and just a little bit played a little more for reality and less for the stage.
Beautiful, beautiful. Were there any major changes about the character that you made from stage to film, or anything that you included extra?
I think all of the essences are the same. All of the main wants and character traits are the same. I think that the main difference would be just how much less work was necessary from a kind of expression standpoint in terms of his physical life and his emotionality, and just letting things remain more internal and more under the surface. I think on stage, we wanted so much for Evan's anxiety and his worry and his vulnerability to show through very clearly. So there was a lot of active showing of those things. And I think on film, it was about making sure that I was feeling them and living them internally, but only letting them peek through at the right times and in the right ways. And just sort of allowing the film to be a slow build so that it's not too heavy too fast or too much too fast. And so that by the time we get to the rather emotional section at the end of the film, we feel that we are ready for it and that we've kind of earned it. Um, yeah, that was the main challenge.
Yeah, well, it paid off very well because you felt it. Like I felt it when I was watching. It was just like that whole build up, but then like the climax at the end when he like had to tell the truth. It was just it felt very natural because it was just like all these secrets just piling on. It was like so he did fantastic. I was shocked, honestly. I was just
Thank
like,
you.
wow. Um, um. So, what was your initial response when you heard that D. Evan Hansen was coming to the big screen?
Um, I think immediately, my first response was I can't wait for the number of people that are going to get to see it and how the story is going to reach so many young people that would never have been able to see it on stage, and that the sheer amount of people that can get affected by it when it's a film is just astronomically different. So that was the first thought. And then the second thought was just terror, I think, of like, how do I do this again? And how do I get back to that place mentally and emotionally and physically and vocally? And how do I really do it justice? Because this is a version that, for better or for worse, will be the one that's immortalized and the one that exists forever. And really wanted to do justice to what we had created already. And so, yeah, it was like both of those things at once.
Yeah. And leading off that, like, how did you prepare yourself for all those heavy emotional scenes? Because there were so many. It was just like, holy crap! Like the talent you have to be able to portray like Evan, it was just. I just shocked the whole, just like in all the whole way through. Honestly, I really was. But how, how hard was it to get back into that state?
Difficult. I mean, the nice thing was that I had incredible co-stars who are very gifted and were living this reality for the first time, and so it was new in their eyes, which helped it feel new to me. And they were also very honest performers, very authentic. None of them have a false bone in their body. So when I'm acting with Caitlin Dever or Julianne Moore or Amanda Stenberg, and they are living in such a full reality. It helps me to feel like I'm living in a full reality too. As far as preparation for those scenes, I use music a lot. I have a lot of different songs and playlists that I like to listen to on the days that I'm doing those more difficult scenes to sort of get me in the right headspace. And I also have my director, Stephen Chbosky, to thank, because he would defer to me in terms of what I needed practically to make those things happen. So if we had a big scene coming later in the day where I had to sing or to cry, he would always come to me before and say, would you like to start with that? Would you like to do your coverage first? Do you want to do the wide first? Do you want to do the other scene first? Just really allowed me to experience it the way that I needed to give the best performance. And even if it was sometimes inconvenient for the crew or for production, he really prioritized that. And I think that really shows. And so I'm very grateful for him.
Definitely, definitely. I love that. So it was confirmed that Evan has more of a repercussion to his actions in the film than the stage production. So how important was it for you to balance the message of mental health and then acknowledge it while still being held accountable for Evan's mistakes?
Very important. I think it's one of the things that the film accomplishes the best compared to the stage show is understanding that just because someone is struggling and going through something and that they're vulnerable, of course we want to have empathy and compassion for them, but it does not exonerate them or excuse their behavior, and they still need to do the proper work to repent and to work towards forgiveness and to improve themselves. And I think, not that Evan gets off totally scot-free in the musical, but it's a little bit easier to kind of tie it up once we've all watched a 2.5 hour live show and kind of let that go. But in a film, when you're seeing these people in real life in real locations and they feel very real to you, I think we really need to see him work for that forgiveness and learn and grow. And I think it's very effective when we finally get to see him redeemed in the end, and it feels earned in a way that's specific to the film.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to check up a bit with a little good, I guess, fun question. What was your favorite musical performance to adapt to the film?
That's a good question. I loved all of them. I think in terms of the adaptation, I loved Sincerely Me, because in the show, it's a really fun number with dancing, but it exists in this kind of like amorphous space. Whereas in the film, we got to really show what it would be like if Connor and Evan were friends. We show them, working in the park together, going on go-karts together, playing in the arcade together. Just really getting to live that fantasy in reality was really fun, really special.
Yeah, I was literally going to say, like, Sincerely Me was one of my favorite performances because, like, obviously the film's very, emotional, but then you had this little performance that was just so fun and light and happy, and it was, like, nice to see, like, what could have been. It was sad at the same time, but you guys did phenomenal, so it was a really great performance. I've got to commend the whole thing, but, So what would be the best advice that you would give Evan?
I would give him advice that he eventually learns, thankfully, but I would try to give it to him sooner, which is just that, it's okay to be only purely who you are. And I know that it feels like you're only being loved and being accepted because of this falsehood and because of this lie. And it's the first time you felt seen. And I know that that's really, it's beguiling and it makes you want to keep going. But I would just promise him that if he were to come clean and really be actually fully who he is, that he would receive just as much love and understanding. And I think hopefully he really does get there, but I would try to help him get there quicker.
Perfect. Well, Ben, that was all the questions I really had to ask, but I just wanted to say thank you once again for joining me. The film is incredible. I cannot wait for people to see it. I feel like it's a very important film to normalize the message of mental health, because I feel like we need more of that. So I just want to congratulate you and everybody who was a part of the film. But can't wait for everybody to see it. So Ben, once again, thank you so much for joining. Have a good evening, rest of your night.
You too. Have a good day. Thank you.
You too. Thank you so much.